Howdy. Obviously, when you look back on Saturday night, personally, one of the toughest losses I've been around, and none of them are easy. I guarantee you that. You don't do this to finish second. There's no question about that. But when it happens, you gotta pick up and you gotta move on, and you gotta look at the lessons that you learn. You gotta try to make improvement, and that's the approach that we're taking. And we're going to continue to coach hard. We're going to continue to do some of the same things that we've been doing, but do them better, and that's kind of where we are. So with that, I'll start taking questions.
Start on the right side, Gabe.
Can you put your finger on the fourth quarter situation? I mean, it didn't bite you against UCLA. You won the game. Same with Tennessee. Won the game, made plays late, but this time it did in the fourth. Can you put your finger on it?
It's difficult, and I think there's a lot of things that you look at that we could have done better, and we got hurt with some deep balls in all three of those situations, and those things are going to happen. We've relied on our pass rush, and it's been good, and it's been a great combination for us. But the thing that we got to learn to do is play in close quarters, and we've done that. We did that with 2 overtime games. We played very well in close quarters, and we got to have the sense of urgency, and we got to make sure that they're prepared for those situations when they come up, and that's the key. In my opinion, because in this league. And really, it doesn't matter whether it's this league or other leagues. There's going to be some balance, and you're going to be in close quarters. Where you have to make plays at the right time, and that's an area that we got to get better. Whether it's from a scheme standpoint or whether it's a player making a play, and all those things are part of what we're talking about. And I'll just use one example. The first play of the fourth quarter. We got the quarterback running, retrieving, running, and if we just pin him to the sideline, then we're going to be out of the play. And with the depth he got, our backside contained, didn't hold the depth, and it's understandable because he was retrieving, and we let him spin back to the field and make a play. Those are plays that you have to be able to make, and certainly, I take responsibility for that, but I use that as part of the answers. You have to be able to play in close quarters, and that's as good a situation as I can give you. And you have to give the quarterback, some credit. He was able to, elude us and get back to the field and make a throw that, if we do what we need to do, he's not going to be able to make.
Front row on the left side, Zach.
Coach, talked a little bit about the secondary. Where have you seen Deshaun Capers-Smith progressing in his play at cornerback?
Well, we're talking about a young guy, and he has continued to get better in terms of technique, and also, really being a more confident player. He understands the scheme a little bit better. He's played enough now. He's not a young guy anymore, and but he's continued to get better, and we're going to count on him to be better this week and count on him to be better next week, and that's the way we got to approach it, and we got to prepare him to be better.
On the right side in the middle, Ben.
Coach, y'all jumped up to, I know you talked a little bit about this last week, and y'all jumped up now to second in the country in plays defended. Do you feel like at this point in the fourth quarter where y'all give up a majority of your points, do you feel like guys are just worn out with the amount of plays that are on the field?
Well, you're not going to be as fresh on the 80th play as you're on the 8th play, okay? But let's talk about that in terms of, number of plays we're playing. Early in the second quarter, we had them pinned and, backed up. We got a third down, and, we're out, but then we get a penalty. And, we're back out. Now, we had to play 12 more plays after that penalty that continued to drive. So when we start talking about number of plays, it's our responsibility to get off the field. And we've had opportunities to get off the field, and we got to do that. I'm not going to sit up here and make any excuses. We got to be ready. If it's 110 plays, we got to be ready to play 110 plays if that's what it takes to win the game. And that's the attitude we got to have. So if I start talking about, well, we're tired and all, hey, that's not what they need to hear. That's what they need. Nobody needs to hear it. And as a matter of fact, as far as the linebackers, we did a better job. I did a better job of rotating those guys to keep them fresh in case we do get into that situation. Richard Moore and George Claude played almost the entire second quarter. So we got to continue to build depth. And if it takes 100 plays, then that's what we got to do. And we're not going to use the number of plays, and we got to get off the field, and we got to do a better job of that, and we're going to get that squared away.
Right up front, Brent.
Does it ramp up the aggravation, frustration, whatever you want to call it, when the guy who did that against y'all was playing in his first college game, had never been in that kind of atmosphere, but yet was able to do what he did?
No, not really. I mean, I saw Johnny Manziel do it, and even though he was a red shirt, but I saw him do it to everybody. Sometimes there's good players and they make plays, but from a defensive standpoint, no, you don't want to give up those kind of plays. There were plays that we should have made and we didn't make, and you have to give them credit because they did.
Front on the left side, Chavis.
Coach, what can you say about Frank Wilson from your time working with him as a program builder and a recruiter?
He's a good football coach, and you look at his team in all aspects. I think that for a first-year head coach, they're a well-coached football team, and they're very disciplined. They do a good job of taking care of the ball, but you can, when you watch them on film, it's easy to tell that they are a well-coached football team.
Second row on the right side, Olin.
John, with the obvious about knowing about how much Miles means to the defense, and when you play an opponent like UTSA, would you be inclined to want to rest him more, or do you take the approach that with a guy like that, anytime he can get out there, you're going to put him out there? Well,
we need to get some cohesion, and not only, and Miles leads by example, and he's one of our best leaders because he's playing hard and fast all the time. We're not we're in a position where we're going to shoot every bullet we got, and that's what we got to do, and certainly we're going to play the game as needed, and if we get a chance to rest some people, that'd be good, but I'm not going in saying, hey, that's what we're thinking about doing, because our focus is winning the football game, and we'll be playing an opponent that is, like I said, well coached. They've got some talent, and we're going to have to play well. We just can't show up. We're going to have to play well, and that's got to be our focus, is to get ready to do what it takes to play as well as we can.
Right side middle, Ben.
Coach, I mean, up until this point, have you been pleased with the depth that y'all have on both sides of the ball?
Well, let's be honest about that. I don't think you'll find a coach in America that tells you that they're pleased with the depth. You always want more. You better be wanting more, and you better be trying to recruit to get more, and that's what it takes. We're not in a position where we can roll out 12 defensive linemen without a drop-off. When we get to that point, then I'll tell you, yeah, we're more satisfied, and that's what we got to do. We got to keep building and recruiting, and you look at the programs that are winning and continue to win, and that's what they've done. You look at two of the best programs right now in the country, and I've recruited against them, so I know what they recruited. But you look at Alabama and you look at Clemson, and it's built on recruiting, and we got to continue to do a great job there, and build depth. But again, I think it's hard to find a coach that's going to say, hey, we're satisfied with. I mean, we're happy, obviously. I love our players, and I'll tell you this about our players. It's one of the best. It's one of the best that I've been around in terms of the character of the kids, and what they do and how they work and how they approach the game. But again, to build that elite championship program, you have to do it because the ones we got aren't going to be here. We got to keep recruiting, and we got to create more depth.
Go to Gabe on the right side, and then Suzanne will wrap us up.
Speaking of depth, what did Larry Pryor show you in his extended opportunity?
I was really excited. I thought he played really well, and he's more comfortable with what's going on now, And that in itself, in my opinion, was a big bright spot. Was the way he stepped up and played, and obviously going in the game, he would. We didn't think he'd play as many snaps as he did, but I think he took advantage of the opportunity and really gave us more confidence. We knew that eventually, or he was going to be, or he is already, but we knew he was going to be a good player. But right now, you feel like we can put him in any situation, and he's ready for it.
Right side middle, Suzanne.
Hey, John, earlier this year, you all looked like you turned the corner in your rush defense, that you got the problems fixed. But I guess over the past 4 games, SEC, it's 287, 282, 287, 365, 152. Do you think that there's some backsliding, or do you think that it's injuries, or can you put your finger on what might it be?
Some of it has been, scheme problems and players understanding that, and some of it's been against some of the better teams that we played, and we made some progress, and I think even after the 3 games that you're talking about, and then going into this game, I think we made some progress in this game. We versus the run game, our fits were much better. We were really stout at the point of attack in most situations, but it's a thing that we got to continue to work on, every single day. And again, we're going to leave the tiredness out of it. It's we are who we are, and our kids play hard, they practice hard, and we just got to play better at times.
All right. Thank you for your time, Coach.